Real estate developer, reality TV star, and I think even he'd agree a really big mouth. Not exactly the guy many want getting intelligence briefings and secrets for that matter. But once Trump becomes the official nominee, he will get those intel briefings, period, exclamation point. Reuters says that's got many officials worried that this is the guy who actually will not keep the lip zipped here, and he will share secrets. Moreover, foreign leaders, they're also very concerned about Trump. This Politico headline, I think, says it all. Trump terrifies world leaders. They're worried he'll win. The article says the president, he's spending a lot of time convincing them he won't, but they're still in, quote, full-blown panic. Now, we wanted our former members of Congress to weigh in here. As we said, Congressman Shays, he's served on the Subcommittee on National Security and Homeland Security committees, as well as Congressman Rothman serving on Foreign Affairs and Defense Appropriations. Listen, some of the comments that he said, we don't have to belabor it, but that I'll intimidate everybody, they'll fear us, putting down our military in the process.
Let me tell you what concerns them, and then let me tell you the irony. First off, our foreign leaders want a strong president. They want someone who says what he's going to do and then does what he says. That's the irony. And so some like the perceived strength of the man. Thank God we got someone who's going to stand up to this group and that group. That's the irony on that side of the equation. The other side of it is he is begatting people like the new leader in the Philippines, who basically, made some disgusting comment about the woman who got raped. He doesn't blame him. She was so attractive. I mean, that kind of personality is coming out, because of the Trump kind of thing. What I think most people in the end recognize, though, is that he knows very little about foreign affairs, and he could be very dangerous.
Let me give, and I'll play devil's advocate, albeit painfully, but you know what? I've seen the last couple presidents take very active roles around the globe here. It's time to basically take a more isolationist point of view, hunker down within our own borders. NATO and the rest, they should reach in their own pocket and pay for this stuff here. Why is it on our dime?
Well, first off, NATO does basically do that. That's the crazy thing. And if we have troops, we can keep them all in the United States, that would be ineffective, and then pay for them. Or we can have a shared cost with Japan and other countries overseas, and the base that we have in the Persian Gulf. We need those bases. They pay a good chunk of the money, and we would have to pay all of it if they were back here. And Trump isn't suggesting that we reduce the number of troops that we have. So it's just a misinformed comment that is one of the reasons why he's scary.
How about letting more folks have nukes? He's talked about that as well.
Well, good grief. We want less people to have them, and particularly some of the people he's willing to have them. It would be a very destabilizing world. And dangerous. Again, dangerous, dangerous, dangerous.
He's got a lot of slogans, one of which is, my God, look at our military here. We should be able, in a weekend, to beat ISIS. If I'm president, we're going to carpet bomb them, and we'll take care of them. What's your problem with that?
Those are moronic, ignorant statements.
Other than that.
And I don't say them to attack him with just nasty words. I mean, literally, they're moronic and idiotic. It betrays a lack of understanding of the world and of our military. We have the strongest military on the face of the earth ever in history. We have 10 aircraft carriers. We have the people have one or none. You're dealing with Iran, North Korea, China, Russia, and you have this ISIS group who are motivated by suicidal folks. And you can deter rational people, you can destroy your enemy, but it doesn't take a week, it takes longer.
And more than that, they're embedded with civilians, and your carpet bomb.
And the other thing is, one of the things, several things we've learned in the 20th century and the 21st century as it's begun is to be careful where we invest our military. And to talk about becoming isolationist, which is what he says he wants to do. On the one hand, he wants to carpet bomb everybody. On the other hand, he says nobody and nothing is worth being involved in the world. Well, if we're not involved in the world, it means that our shipping lanes, our trade routes that we rely on here in the United States to sell our goods overseas become the point where other nations, like China, like Russia, they take control over those trade routes, and that's bad for America.
So a minute for each of you guys. Give me, regardless of who the next president of the United States is, give me where you believe the next commander-in-chief is going to have a real issue in the next 4 years or 8 years.
Why don't you ask him first so I can think about it?
There you go.
China, Russia. China is now involved in the South China Sea, where more than 50% of the world's goods go by those islands in the South China Sea. China is already trying to build bases there. Now, Obama has reset our foreign policy to a large degree with the Trans-Pacific Trade Agreement and with alliances in Japan and Vietnam and India and the Philippines and other places in the region to sort of box in China with regard to the South China Sea. Russia still is trying to push away what it sees as encroachments from others. Everyone's crazy about selling their energy. As Joe Biden said, Russia is a gas station, a bankrupt gas station. That's all they've got to sell, and they're not doing too well, especially with the price of oil going down. So we need to worry about China, Russia, and North Korea.
We have to be worried about a lot of places, but one of the stupid things we did is we pushed Russia too far. If Russia had wanted to take over Canada, we'd go ballistic. We have a failure to understand how other countries think. Ukraine should have been neutral. We tried to push them to join us. So I want wisdom in dealing with China. I want wisdom dealing with Russia. I want a president who does what he says he or she will do. And I think the world wants that. And I want someone who is recognizing that we have trade. Trade brings people together and intertwines us and gives us common interests. So that's why I don't like your VP choice.
A quick practical question for the two congressmen. You've both received classified briefings over the years. How hard is it to keep that stuff secret? And do you worry about Donald Trump being able to do that once he gets...
Let me just tell you, they would tell us things, and I remember one person said, so we can't talk about this, this, and this. There were about 100 of us in the room. And he said, yes, you can. He said, well, I just read this in the New York Times. They came to, but once they tell us, even though it was public, we can't talk about it.
Although I agree with Chris, that happened. But there are plenty of things that Chris and I have read and seen and discussed with officials in classified top secret briefings that have not been revealed. So we do have the ability to keep secrets.
Yep.
Do I believe that Donald Trump will keep secrets? I don't know. I don't think so. I think, as Chris says, he is a danger to the national security of the United States.
You worry about it?
Yeah, of course, because he's just going to say whatever the hell he wants. He's not going to have someone tell him he can't. He will.
And on these briefings that he gets, give an idea
Well, let me
to
just
the
say,
public
when you're,
what kind of things
when
there
you're
are.
given a
you
briefing,
can.
when you're given a briefing, it's based on your right to know. There are certain things that a congressman's not going to be told because there's no reason to tell us. There are some things that 4 Republicans know and 4 Democrats know in Congress that we don't know. Those are the leaders.
But we were on certain committees and subcommittees where
we had a right to know.
we had a right to know.
Yeah.
But for one of the 2 potential people in the very near future who will be the next commander-in-chief, and by the way, we'll have the launch codes, Trump's going to be privy to some pretty sensitive stuff, assuming that he's the nominee.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Well, my belief will be that the nanosecond that Trump betrays the confidence of our military, who have briefed him because he's the Republican candidate, the second or nanosecond Trump betrays that trust, that will end the communication
No,
from...
he'll be impeached because they can't end it.
as the nominee. As the nominee.
Interesting. Well, obviously, a story that has nothing to do with politics, or at least this political cycle, was the sad passing of Muhammad Ali. And with him, it was never only about the boxing. Activism, political statements, they were all part of an indelible legacy. We're going to remember the champ after the break.